random disclaimer.
When I was recording this, I recorded it off of TikTok. Don't ask why. For whatever reason, there is some sort of preset or warp or whatever that just caused the background to tweak out at times and then look relatively normal at others. I don't really know what to do about that. I didn't want to re-record the whole thing, so I'm afraid you're just gonna have to put up with it. That's all. Thank you.
So naturally, I found it necessary to make white chocolate ube brownies. It's also fitting, I think, to discuss the history of colonization in the Philippines while we make brownies, because that is where the ube plant and cuisine originates, and who doesn't love desserts and history? So first I went to the international market to pick up our frozen ube plant right here. Ube is a delightful yam, not to be confused with purple sweet potatoes or taro. Ube is very sweet, kind of tastes like vanilla but way better, and is used in all sorts of Filipino and Philippine-inspired desserts, from cakes to biko to pandesal to halaya. And halaya is what we're using in the brownies themselves, kind of like a ube jam or pudding that gets mixed. Okay, so first thing, wash my hands. Some of you guys don't wash your hands. Look at me, that's disgusting. And then we're gonna take this somewhat thawed 14 ounces of ube, and then I'm gonna add 2 more ounces because the recipe calls for 16 ounces of ube, and then we're going to combine that with 1 3/4 cup of water, 3/4 of sugar, 3/4 cup, what else? Ube extract, just a smidge. Bro, they're raising hell upstairs. That's what we're gonna be using for the halaya. I'm gonna get, come on. Get out. Get my halaya and I'm gonna get my ube. I'm gonna get my ube chopper. This section's brown. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, I think that's from the skin. Why are they bowling upstairs? This upstairs neighbor can stick it where the sun don't shine. It is crazy that, like, for such a marvelous little plant, it's so hard to find. And it's also 14 ounces. I'm not gonna open up a new bag. It's like when people, like, they don't do the recipe correctly and then they wonder why everything is cooked. Well, yeah, I didn't want to add beans because I'm allergic to beans, but now there's something wrong with my bean dip. We're gonna add this on medium heat in a saucepan. I'm using, by the way, a recipe from a website called hummingbird.com or humming something. Actually, I'll just put it up. I do intend to tweak it just a little bit by adding coconut. Just a little bit of coconut to our batter. I think will make all the difference. The stove is on. I'm gonna add the sugar as well. 1 3/4 cup is what's called for. I'm sure it would be faster if I just added the extract in there, but the recipe I don't think asks you to do that, so I'm not gonna do that. 1 cup, just about, and 3/4 cup. Hold on, why are you using the exact same cup? Because I'm estimating, that's why. I'm estimating. This is the STEM part coming in. This is the STEM part of my degree. I say I'm not good at math and science because I'm not, but I can estimate in cooking mighty fine if I do say so myself. No! That's no, not 1 3. Oh, fuck, I need to scoop that out. Now then, we all know Ferdinand Magellan circumnavigated the globe. It was hammered into our heads when we were kids for some reason. And he was actually murked in the Philippines after he tried to subjugate the natives to Christian rule in the late 1500s. The Spaniards unfortunately spun back though and ruled the Philippine lands for over 300 years. While not as severe a reign as that experienced by the Native Americans because there was a lack of comparable devastating illness, it still consisted of bloody campaigns against liberation movements and relied on pre-colonial class structures to force certain Filipinos into chattel and bond slavery, as well as encomienda, or slavery in exchange for protection through Christianization. It's 1 3/4 cup of water, 3/4 cup of sugar. No, this is so bad. I have to scoop this thing out now because I put in too much sugar. Is it wrong if I bare-hand it? All right, it's fine. We're just gonna have pieces of ube in the sugar. It's fine. No, it's fine. I promise. It's over. No, we can still redeem ourselves, guys. Water there's uno, and there is, however you say the third quarter in there. Kaboom. I like to multitask, so while I am letting that start to, what's the word? Como se dice? Soften and like turn into the halaya, I'm gonna start making the brownie batter. That way it's just like boom, boom, boom. First thing we're going to do in respect to making the brownie mix is going to be creaming our sugars and our butters and our egg bowl. We have no bowl. I have my egg. I'm pulling out my butter. We're using a half stick of butter. We're using 1 egg, and we're using 1 cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Also a nickname people refer to me as. They don't do that. It does say to use like softened butter. I am a rule breaker, so I'm gonna try to just melt it and pray to Allah that nothing bad becomes of this decision. Post editing husband, let me know if that was a really bad choice. I don't think it will be though. I don't think it will be. I could brown it too. I love a brown butter. I love a brown butter. Again, that's, you know, people nickname, they refer to me as brown butter. They don't do that either. The upper class of the pre-colonial Philippine society helped enforce colonial rule in exchange for benefits, but this would backfire for Spain later on, since the educated mestizo class, in coalition with the working class, would lead revolution against the declining Spanish Empire by the late 1800s. These movements were birthed by people like Jose Rizal. What a handsome guy. Brilliant as well. He was a physician and revolutionary author who started La Liga Filipina, inspiring the very unfortunately acronymed KKK. Not that KKK. This KKK, I can't pronounce it unfortunately, is also known as the Katipunan, and it was led by, among others, Andres Bonifacio and later Emilio Aguinaldo. Bonifacio and Aguinaldo would ultimately help shape the relationship the Philippines had with the United States after Rizal was executed by the Spanish government. And both these men carry complicated legacies, while also viewed as heroes in certain respects. Brown butter is really nice because it's like a nutty quality. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just makes every single dessert more wholesome. I think that's why they'll like put that at the supermarket, like, or at the bakery, I should say. You're getting a cookie or something, and they add that in the name of the cookie that they use brown butter. They always like jack up the price like $1 or $2 as a result. Like you have your chocolate chip cookie, and it's like $2, and then you have your brown butter cookie, and then it's like, I don't know, $12. I'm not even cutting it up. I don't know even what the knife was for, but I am microwaving it in the microwave that I unplugged. That's genius. Oh, I'm getting dizzy. Hear that? I don't think you can hear anything else. I think that might be too loud, feeling the melted butter in there. But we are a go for butter. Next, I'm adding our sugars. And again, as a reminder, that's going to be a cup of normal sugar and a 1/4 cup of the brown sugar. Our brown sugar is in fact hard right now. I'm not going to say that. I like to just go ahead and use this nifty-gritty method. Your aunt or I don't know, whoever bakes in your family may have shown you this already, but a wonderful thing you can do when your sugar has gone hard is putting it in whatever we're going to use. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a towel. Some people use bread. That's fucking weird. I'm taking a towel, I'm dampening it just a little bit. I'm taking my damp towel, I'm resting it on top of the 1/4 cup. I'm just going to stick this whole thing in there and set that in there for just like 20 seconds. Beautiful. Everything's falling on the floor, that's okay. And once it's out, you might want to put it back in a second time if it doesn't do the trick the first time, but it should get it soft enough to where it's somewhat usable. Ignore this time was a fluke. It should work normally. I use it often because I'm a fat ass and I like it. So we're taking our spoon that dropped on the floor and is probably covered in E. coli, and we're using this to cream. I might just take out, this sucks, but I'm just gonna take out these rocks that are in my mixture and just go ahead and add more granulated sugar. It's a loss, but you know, also I guess you could, sometimes it's nice to leave them in there because when they do eventually melt in the oven, they gain a really nice sort of gooey brown sugar syrup quality that's nice. Just sprinkle in a little bit. Let's just pretend I never said there's brown sugar in this recipe. Smelling good, smells nice. Not soft at all though. So I'm just gonna give it a twirl, crank the heat up a little bit. I put it down to low, and now I'm pushing it back up because it's taking a fucking long time. Bonifacio was deeply averse to allying with the United States to defeat Spain, and he was viciously anti-clerical or anti-church, essentially. He was actually responsible for the execution of some friars, and it was because he saw both the United States and the Catholic Church as instruments of colonialism. And look, it's low-key hard to disagree with him there if you're familiar with the history of the Catholic Church in the New World. The Pope did some nasty work there. Nevertheless, Bonifacio's defiance led him to be charged with treason by Aguinaldo's revolutionary government, and he was executed. Aguinaldo joined forces with the United States to successfully turn the tide in expelling the Spanish. But afterwards, the United States did some wicked backstabbing. They backdoored the Philippines, essentially, and refused to recognize the independence of the Philippines. Why? Well, let's turn to the foreign policy of the United States. And now I'm adding an egg. I do miss being a kid and begging my mom to begging my mom to let me help her cook. On rare occasion, I'd be allowed to crack the egg. It was such a grand, noble honor in my eyes. It still is, because it's just so fun to like enjoy the sense of accomplishment in, you know, cracking it and having the yolk stay intact, which I managed to accomplish this time. It's really sad when your mom already doesn't trust you baking, and then you crack the egg, you break the yolk, and a couple pieces of eggshell fall into the batter, and so you just kind of want to kill you. But I've redeemed myself. That's what this video is about. It's got this quality now. Can't show you for too long or it'll fall out the bowl. We're gonna go ahead and add 1.5 cup flour. There you go. To my flour, I'm adding just a little bit, a smidge of this coconut milk mix. For and giggles. Come on now. Please don't break. Please don't spill everywhere. Okay, good. I'm adding just a smidge. I don't know. The packet's this big, so I'm not gonna add the whole packet, but I'll probably add just a little bit in there for a wonderful coconutty flavor. I hear online that people say that ube tastes, or it can be replaced rather, with vanilla and coconut. And I just love coconut. I'm not trying to replace the ube because I ran around town trying to find the freaking ube. Finally did at First Oriental Market. Just add coconut for maybe a more enhanced ube flavor. I don't know, but I'm going in and I'm just adding however much. You can't even see it. That, come on. That much. You couldn't even see it. But just a smattering. Just a smattering. What's another word for smattering? Chocolate chips. That one I just ate, like just straight up, just nibbled on that. Typically, I also just go back and add more chocolate chips if it doesn't look good enough. I might add a dash of vanilla in here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything benefits from vanilla. I don't know about you. And I'm going to add, I don't know what fell, ube flavoring. I'm so curious. I kind of want to taste it. I know it's alcohol. I know it's, or is it, glucose syrup, propylene glycol, sorbitol. Oh, so it's literally sweet. Wait, oh my god, wait. No, I am going to taste this. There's no alcohol in it. And it's full of syrup. Just a touch. Ooh. Haha. Oh, that's not good. No, that's not good. Oh no, that's not good. Oh no. That's so purple. Oh. I'm gonna add a touch. A touch in there. That's more than it. My insides are gonna be
Too much is a bad thing.
President is William McKinley, America's imperial daddy, and often forgotten figure who got his term cut short when he got no-scoped by an anarchist and was replaced by more popular and slightly more attractive imperialist Teddy Roosevelt. McKinley was a crazy racist. Like, I don't even want to repeat quotes from the guys who led the campaign McKinley authorized, because they're genuinely horrific. And McKinley's language preyed on the rabid racism that was heavy in these regiments sent off to fight what they refer to as Indians, heathens, savages, and of course, N-words. McKinley wielded the trope of the white man's burden and manifest destiny a lot in his speeches. White man's burden is this idea that white-led nations have to colonize and civilize brown people desiring independence, and manifest destiny being the idea that America should own everything from shore to shore of the North American coast, and if you're William McKinley, maybe a little bit more. And you may say, well, hey, maybe Brits can do that because they're lame and unpatriotic, but doesn't colonization kind of go against the Enlightenment values that America championed just 100 years prior when it gained independence against the British? And yes, you're correct. This hypocrisy is what sparked one of the first anti-imperial movements in America, the idea that the US is especially not supposed to do colonialism because anti-colonialism is in the DNA, right? The core values that inspired the secession of America from Great Britain. So the AAIL, or Anti-American Imperialism League, if I have that right, was led by people like Mark Twain, William Jennings Bryan, former President Grover Cleveland, Andrew Carnegie, and social reformer Jane Addams. Something folks get wrong about the AAIL, or anti-imperialism, during this time period was that it advocated for the sort of woke or left-wing strain of anti-imperialism we see more commonly today, governed by a belief in equality for different peoples and their right to self-determination. However, most people in the 1890s were anti-imperialism because they were so racist, they despised the idea of more non-white peoples being integrated into the American empire. One Missouri congressman is quoted as saying about the Philippines, "Very soon, almond-eyed, brown-skinned United States senators will destroy the very Constitution that had granted them the rights of citizenship. No matter whether they are fit to govern themselves or not, they are not fit to govern us," end quote. That's crazy. That's crazy work. Oh, the extract does elicit a very, very purple tinge to the batter. And I also have to add extract to the halaya, so there's going to be a very purple dish indeed. Ooh, that's a dumb way of checking. Stay safe. Ooh, mushy soft. I'm gonna find something to mush it with, but I don't have anything that's properly ideal for mushing. It's a glass thing of espresso. Let me wash the bottom before I use it. The ube in the halaya is now smushed, so now I'm gonna let that reduce. Need the espresso anymore. Wow, my mouth is so... Whoa, that's nasty too. Let me stop. Let me get a little bit of a taste of this mixture though. That is really good, wow. So I'm just gonna let that keep boiling. I can't stop paying attention to how purple my tongue is, but I'm gonna let that continue to reduce, and then I am going to go myself. I don't know. I'm just gonna wait. Anyways, this was the attitude that the US carried as it double-crossed the Philippine revolutionary leadership and thus sparked the Philippine-American War. Originally, this was a war led by General Luna on the Philippine side, a brilliant general who wielded guerrilla attacks coupled with the unfamiliar tropical terrain and harsh conditions to deal severe, sometimes gruesome, questionable blows to the invading American army. A lot of American accounts describe the Philippine War as a hell on earth, which especially makes sense because of the yellow fever that raged through the troops and brought brought more losses to the US forces. Nevertheless, the Philippine army began to suffer heavy losses after the assassination of General Luna, which Aguinaldo low-key might be responsible for, but no one really knows, which culminated in defeat as the US upped the brutality of their attacks and Aguinaldo was forced to surrender. And by brutality, I mean at the tipping point in the war, the US authorized a policy of chastisement. Chastisement, that's a big word for Elmo. What this means, though, was the punishment of the Philippines for revolution and past crimes committed by Philippine forces was beyond any remotely acceptable bounds, because soldiers were encouraged to shoot first and ask questions later, kill anything that moved in villages and burn them all down. The US then banned any paraphernalia associated with Philippine independence and instead created a governing commission, kind of like the one discussed by Trump in Venezuela, where it was concluded, conveniently, that the Philippines was not ready for self-government by Pinoy experts like William Taft, later governor over the Philippines. I'm joking, of course. Taft was a federal judge who didn't know shit about the Philippines, and despite implementing some popular policies in the Philippines, like self-governance, he still stubbornly maintained that independence was not possible. Alright, so I did some mining off camera. I strained the halaya and added some ube extract. Maybe too much, I may have gotten carried away. That's a very purple mixture, as you can clearly tell. It's a very purple day today. Very purple day today. So let me just scoop in low-key everything. There we go. And I'm gonna do whatever I want with the rest, I guess. There's a dirty dish. Oh, someone's smoke alarm went off. Not mine though, thank God. Weird is the recipe never called for any type of like agents. No type of baking powder. No type of baking soda. So not too sure if we need that, question mark? That somewhat changed with Woodrow Wilson, and by the Jones Act, Congress made the promise to give the Philippines independence, which was not realized until 1946. During that period, the Philippines continued to be a Commonwealth nation. It's kind of crazy to imagine that there was a Commonwealth of America like that of Britain, but nevertheless, it sustained through World War II and fought against Japanese occupation. There were certainly violent resistance movements after Aguinaldo, but they just weren't quite as formidable. I know if you killed everybody in my village for supporting independence, I'd be a bit shy to revolt myself. And the Philippines finally achieved independence in 1946. This wasn't without caveat though. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful batter we've got now. Oh, stunning. She's stunning. Oh, I could eat it raw. Going in for a coveted little nibble. It's way more. That's good. Como se dice? I mean, it's very vanilla, coconutty. There's a little nice grain from the halaya. I like the ground up yam, or I should say the mashed up yam. I mean, it's not like a yam batter, duh. But it's got a profile. She's got a profile on her. I love it. In 1947, the US authorized the lease of military bases for nearly 100 years in the future. And the legacy of these bases in the Philippines and across the Pacific is marred by things like sexual violence against Philippine women, as a horrifyingly massive business of predatory prostitution cropped up to fulfill the desires of military members overseas. Not much different than the racially charged comfort women atrocities that took place during Japanese occupation against Korean and Philippine natives. This is where we get a lot of the severe racial fetishization that populates the era's media about Asian women, still existing today, of course. It's the legacy that contributes to a generation of what's called Ameri-Asians being shunned in both US and Philippine society for being supposedly illegitimate children. And it's where we get things like mail order brides. Those aren't like a joke. Those are women often fleeing the intense economic oppression that the US has played a hefty roll in. In the meantime, of course, I'm obviously going to clean up. I've made a disastrous mess, as I've already mentioned, and I just wanted to show you the tin because it was so small. For reference, I'm 4'11". I'm not. Anyways, yeah, it's so tiny. Like, I don't think this is a 9-inch. It can't be 9 inches. But it's 8-inch. It's 8-inch pan. It still looks greasing it, of course, and I'm just throwing it in there at 350. No discretion. We're baking for how long? 30 minutes. 30, yeah. You know we have 30 minutes. I'll stop. The Philippine Trade Act, or BEL Act, gave the Philippines war reconstruction funds, much like those given to Japan and other countries decimated post-World War II, in exchange for US business rights to Philippine resources that were equal to that of the actual Philippine people. That's, of course, insane. I mean, it's a highly exploitative agreement, and it was amended later on with the Laurel-Langley Act, but the policy still continued well into the 1970s. American economic policies in the Philippines, of course, did not end in the 1970s. They continued amidst the Cold War as the US-backed anti-communist dictator Ferdinand Marcos, responsible for enacting martial law, killing thousands of his own people, and torturing tens of thousands of dissenters, as well as furthering the economic divide and poverty experienced by the lower classes. This obviously led to even harsher views on the US and the Philippines, and protests eventually led to the closure of major US bases in the early 90s. I'm gonna probably sprinkle with more white chocolate. Oh, it's not the biggest batter, honestly. Oh, I should swirl some of the Halia in there. Oh, that's genius. I'm a genius. Get every ounce of that wonderful purple yam goodness. It was funny, I got worried at the grocery store trying to find this thing because it was sold as purple yam, and I was like, no, I don't want purple yam, I want ube. Like, I don't want to get sweet potato or taro. I managed to find it because it was sold by some sort of Vietnamese company, so I just googled up, does this mean the same thing as ube? Let me find it. What's the name? The company is Vietnam Cuisine. The name that they put it under was Khoi Mo Dong Lai Lan. Wait, I'm reading it upside down. Khoi. Oh, I've never seen that letter. Nevertheless, seeing as the US is never one to mind its own business, beginning in 1999 and continuing to this day, is the Philippines Visiting Forces Agreement, or VFA. What's the VFA, you may ask? Well, what this does is give the US near full authority to extradite US service members who commit crimes on Philippine soil in exchange, I guess, for protection against China and other hostile nearby countries. But in practice, this has meant that multiple troops accused of raping Philippine civilians go off scot-free. And in 2020, a man named Joseph Pemberton, who murdered a Filipino woman named Jennifer Laud, was totally let off the hook after being convicted of murder. He has not been retried in the US. None of these people have, and it's hard to say that they ever will be. Google reassured me that that is in fact ube. So yeah, I'm just slathering that onto our oiled tin. It's not really too swirlable. Like, I don't think it makes, let me just dollop it on there and then swirl. And then I don't know how to make it pretty. I'll try. That doesn't look right. I tried, guys. Oh, and then chocolate chips. Sprinkle of chocolate chips. I'm gonna do it where the Halia didn't touch. So here, 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 here. I see a lot of folks, this is kind of off topic, but I see a lot of folks who kind of clown on people for not knowing how to bake. And then alternatively, there are people like me who only know how to bake with recipes for the large portion of things. And rest assured, right, like, baking is a skill you can learn over time if you just have interest and confidence. And, you know, obviously, as long as you're giving credit, there's nothing wrong with using people's recipes, and it doesn't really make you less of a baker. But it is hard. It is hard to follow a recipe accurately. I'm gonna eat these. It's hard, but you can learn. And then you can home make an entire tin of brownies all for yourself. Boop, boop, I hope that this history clearly conveys that the U.S. In the short time it has occupied the Philippines has in many ways offered strong competition to the Spanish in which empire can commit the most deplorable crimes against humanity and the Philippine people. Ube is not the first or last cultural export we have received. It's certainly a terrific product, but like a lot of these trendy consumables, their existence is marred in systemic violence that impacts the quality of life and the social perceptions of a given people to this very day. I'm not asking you to repent for the crimes of 1,000 ancestors, but I am suggesting a level of consciousness as we consider the exchange we are very fortunate to take part in amidst globalization, but not further the erasure and exploitation of a people through ignorance or superiority complex. Food is culture, food is politics, food is love, and food is delicious. Hold on, it looks so dark and ominous in your room. Well, yes, because it's nighttime. But the brownies are done. Let me... Kabam! Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Let me get that out of the way. Okay. Pattern looks like shit. It's okay though. Then I take a corner piece. I'm a huge corner piece fan. I should add as well that this has been sitting for a bit, just because I had to go run multiple errands. It came out, okay. Would you look at that? It's not perfectly aesthetic, but would you look at that? It's dark, but focus, please, please, please. No, it's fine. Ooh, that crumb, oh, a little bit well done. My teeth are a bit sensitive now, so I can't, as much as I love well done, I can't quite tolerate it. It's definitely soft on the inside and moist. Okay, I cooked. I don't want to just go in the center. I feel like I'd like the center more because it's like, it's a bit more ube jam swirled in there. That is really good. Ube brownies, not too complicated. Sensational stuff. Try it at home. Let me know how it goes. Thank you to Hummingbird for the recipe. Oh, I should comment on the coconut bit. You can get it in there, but it's very faint. I love to bake. I love politics, obviously, and I love history. So if you want me to make more videos like this, let me know. Let me know whatever else your thoughts are. Let me know what you want me to cover next. Let me know if you have hate. Send your hate in the comments. Best hate comment gets shouted out in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. That's really probably a little bit too much. I appreciate you.